Fantasy Football Factory Week 3. We got the King of the South, Mintzy. We got Moody on the sticks. I am Stephen Cheah. We are, as always, brought to you by DraftKings, but special shout out to the DraftKings Pick 6 app. New DraftKings customers play just $5 and get $50 in bonus picks. Pick 6 is super easy. You just pick guys that have more or less of a certain stat. It's also available in a lot of states that regular sports gambling is not available in, so check it out where you live. Get in on the action. Sign up using our promo code FACTORY, FACTORY. Again, play just $5, get $50 in bonus picks. We do Pick 6. A lot of the guys in the office, Tate, Spider, are doing that a lot. So check that out. The Pick 6 app, they are awesome.
Yeah, Tate won like $1,000 week one on that promotion.
He did, yeah, on the bag builder.
Yep.
Shout out to him. We have a lot to talk about overall fantasy-wise. We'll get into the DFS stuff and the matchups in a little bit. But the biggest storyline fantasy-wise out of week 2 is Joe Burrow is down, and that affects everybody.
Yeah, and just terrible deal. Turf toe, has to have surgery, out 3 months. I mean, that puts him back in mid-December at best, and I think that, I mean, I would put, if you've got an injury stash, I'd stash him. Just why not? Because you got to use it. But he's only going to come back if the Bengals are in the playoff hunt. Like, literally, if they're out of it, there's no reason for him to come back. And it's a terrible break for – I feel bad for Burrow. I mean, the way he played last year on a team that couldn't stop anybody, he was primed for a possible MVP season. And, I mean, just an absolute dagger. And he's had a lot of injuries in his career. I mean, we had the ACL. Yeah, he had the ACL his rookie year.
Hand 2 years ago.
It's been one thing. That against the Ravens. He got hurt on Thursday night. And then when you're talking about fantasy – I mean, the ripples are everywhere. I mean, this affects Jamar Chase, who was the number 1 overall pick, hugely. Jake Browning, the backup, looked adequate playing for Burrow before, but didn't look good Sunday. I mean, they won. But this hurts Chase. This really hurts T. Higgins. This hurts Chase Brown. I mean, this kills the Bengals. I mean, this is just a catastrophic injury early in the season, and it just sucks for everybody involved.
Where does this move Jamar Chase for you in wide receivers? Because I think unanimously – He was most people's 1-1 overall, but he is certainly the top receiver going into this year with the questions around J.J. McCarthy for Justin Jefferson. Dak didn't look good last year for CeeDee Lamb. Tyreek Hill obviously on the decline with Tua. Where do you stack Jamar Chase versus other fantasy wide receivers right now, week 3 and on for the rest of the year?
I mean, he's still going to be – what would I have him, like, definitely top 5 to 7 still, because nobody's really emerged as that top guy. You just mentioned it. The questions around Justin Jefferson, we saw Amon-Ra St. Brown reestablished himself huge on Sunday.
He's not like a sexy name necessarily as far as the top tier guys, because he doesn't have the measurables. He's in a great offense. He has been a top 3 fantasy wide receiver for the past 2 years. He's just super consistent. I don't see why he doesn't get more love. I think overall, if you're ranking, because Malik Neighbors was awesome last week. I don't know that you can really depend on him on a week-to-week basis, purely because we don't know what's happening at quarterback. I think Amon-Ra St. Brown is wide receiver 1 the rest of the year.
I think the thing with him is his floor is higher than everybody else's.
Yes, exactly.
So that you know what you're getting. He obviously went off in this last game, but there's just questions on everybody right now. I mean, you mentioned Tyreek. The Justin Jefferson thing looks like a mess. McCarthy's going to be, we'll get into that. McCarthy's out. Now Carson Wentz is going.
Ugh.
I mean, the Houston offense looks like a mess. I mean, we all love Nico as a player, but they just, I mean, obviously you saw last night as a Bucs fan. I mean, they look like a total train wreck in the second half.
I thought Nico was good yesterday. I thought that
was a hell of a touchdown catch.
Hell of a touchdown catch. He really should have had 2. Like the one, I think it was, I don't know if it was 3rd or 4th and goal, where he basically double moves Zion McCollum. It looked like the throw was a little bit long, but he tried to get his feet down and it kind of went off his hands. He should have had a very good game last year. Nico Collins for me still is easily a top 5 wide receiver.
I think Puka is too.
Yes. You know who we should not sleep on? And I think it's actually a question right now about who I'd rather have. I have Jamar Chase in a season-long half-point PPR league. I'm debating trading him for Jackson Smith-Njigba. And that's a real debate I'm having with myself right now is, do I offer that? Because I just do not have a lot of faith in Jake Browning. I realize Joe Burrow could come back, and it could be.
I feel like that's like really, really optimistic.
I don't know. JSN is second in the league in targets.
No, I'm not. I'm talking about Burrow coming back.
Oh, yes.
I don't have a problem with the trade. The thing with JSN is you just mentioned it. He's got the whole target share.
Yeah.
I mean, the first week they threw like 60% of their passes to him.
Yeah. And last week, even with Kupp, he's still, making a big difference. So he's second in the league in receiving. He's 11 yards behind Malik Neighbors. He is a guy I'm very high on. It's so tough with these receivers because you need a really good quarterback. So, however hot, wherever you stand on Dak, he's at least going to throw the ball if he's a winning quarterback, and you can kind of depend on him. But Tyreek Hill with Tua, J.J. McCarthy / Carson Wentz.
What's going on in Philly first 2 weeks? Philly's not throwing. I mean, they're winning. Who cares? But 102 yards for Hurts that Sunday.
Yeah, we're seeing a lot of guys emerge. Let's see how long the Giants and Malik Neighbors can keep this up. Puka has been good. He scored a rushing touchdown, a really long one. So Brian Thomas Jr., I don't know what's going on there.
He's banged up too.
Yeah, but I don't know. Like the way it was handled didn't seem that smooth because if he's banged up and had a wrist injury, first of all, he was not on the injury report going into this week. And if he does have the wrist, I feel like Coach Liam Cohen, who I like to give a lot of shit to Jaguars fans because of the whole way Liam Cohen went about the process. I actually kind of like Liam Cohen still. But he did not do him any favors in the post-game presser, just being like, I have to look at that, which is a common answer for coaches. But he should have immediately been like, Brian Thomas Jr. is one of our key pieces. There's no doubt he's super tough. And I'm sure it was kind of relayed, that he was having some issue because in-game play calling, he just did not produce. And there were a lot of balls where he just stopped running, which is kind of crazy. I don't know. I'm pretty down on his fantasy stock, but maybe it's a good time to buy if you're looking for a super buy low.
It's interesting to see so many of the top guys struggling though.
It is.
Because we're talking because you look at these top receivers, these are your elite guys, especially if you're in full point PPR. These are the guys that go first round now. I mean,
that's the whole reason for the zero RB strategies. You can count on the receivers; they're not going to get hurt. But now it's all the quarterbacks are getting hurt, and that's tanking the value because, Jamar Chase is still 100% healthy for what we see, but his value is, I don't want to say it's in the toilet, but it's far from where it was 3 days ago.
Oh, no doubt. No, Burrow and Chase, you look at going back to their last year at LSU, they're on a path to try to, nobody, you think of the great quarterback receiver combos of all time. If they keep this going for 3 to 5 more years, they're in the top 3. Yeah. And, losing Burrow, not just because everybody knows how good he is, but because of him and Chase have such a good chemistry.
Yeah. Moody, who are your top receivers moving forward in season-long fantasy for the rest of the year?
Yeah, one thing I will say is I'm not knocking Jamar Chase quite as much as everyone else is here. Jake Browning threw him the ball a ton. He was his first outlet in that game down the stretch. He still had plenty of points because I have Jamar Chase and Joe Burrow in one of my leagues. I was worried middle of the day or middle of the noon games. He was perfectly fine down the stretch. So I'm not knocking Jamar Chase too much. But my number one receiver moving forward is CeeDee Lamb because of what we just talked about with the quarterback play. I think Dak is the most reliable of those quarterbacks. The Cowboys defense is awful. They're giving up if they gave up that many points to the Giants, they're going to be in shootouts every single week. So for me, it's elevated CD, who was probably 3 or 4 coming into this. I've elevated him to number 1 right above Jamar Chase. And he's going to get a ton of targets. He's averaging 22 points per game right now. It's not like he's been bad or anything. Yep. Touchdowns will come for CD. Sure, Pickens is there. I think that does hurt his overall value maybe just a little bit, but CD still look good. So he's my number 1, and then I probably still have Jamar Chase number 2, to be honest with you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but we're seeing guys like Drake London didn't do anything. Brian Thomas Jr. again nothing. AJ Brown has been very bad fantasy wise. So we're seeing just guys kind of tumble down the board that were formerly old reliables.
Yeah, I know. And it's interesting, like you said, maybe a good buy low time. It's only 2 weeks into the year. That's so much of the trading and maneuvering in fantasy is trying to pick this stuff off.
Yeah, let's look at – sorry, go ahead, Moody.
Real quick, the one guy I wanted to ask y'all about is Justin Jefferson, because we've always looked at him as wide receiver 1A, 1B right there with Jamar Chase. J.J. McCarthy has not looked good. How much faith do y'all have in Carson Wentz to get J.J. the ball, Justin Jefferson?
I mean, if we look at it from a talent perspective, I think Justin Jefferson and Jamar Chase are right next to each other. But let's take a look at a guy who everyone seemingly loves, Garrett Wilson, who's put up 1,000-yard receivers with, respectfully, bums at quarterback. Like, he's not sniffing the top 10 in wide receivers. And, you know, if you put him in a good offense, I don't think anyone has any doubts that he's right up there with Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson as far as talent. But you have to factor in all the other things. And, you know, is it going to be a run-first offense? Is it going to be like, I still think Minnesota, even though Jordan Mason has done well so far in the first, 2 weeks, and Aaron Jones out now, like, they're still going to be they're still going to throw the ball, even with Carson Wentz. So I don't knock him down quite to the Garrett Wilson territory, but I will say I'm worried. If I'm a Justin Jefferson early, you're drafting him in the first round, I'm not happy with what I've seen, and I'm worried.
I'm worried too, but I actually think Wentz is going to be. I mean, he can't be worse than what we saw at McCarthy. I mean, it just looked. I'm not saying Wentz is great because he's definitely not. And the other thing with Wentz is he likes to check it down and throw short. I think I could see this affecting Hawkinson a little bit in a good way.
J.J. McCarthy has played 8 quarters in the NFL and has been terrible, or I'm going to say below average to terrible in 7 of them.
Yeah, and just the eye test on him too. I know, like, not just does he look bad, but like you can see it. Like the ball doesn't come out on time. His motion's slow, and then he tries to run. I don't know. He's not decisive with the ball.
I'm not saying like he's done or whatever as a prospect. I would be very nervous if I am holding a lot of Vikings on my fantasy roster. Like Jordan Addison's going to be back after this coming week. It's kind of a wild. Let's see how Wentz performs. It's kind of a wild card how all Vikings players are going to be ranked moving forward because, let's see how Wentz does. But it's an uninspiring offense.
Yeah, no, it looks bad. And then, I guess we're all guilty of that fallacy. That was the big debate on him going in was do you give O'Connell the benefit of the doubt because of how good he did with Sam Darnold and how they looked with Cousins. But, clearly all of a sudden that's looking like a fallacy early.
Yeah. Let's get into this week's slate of games. It's, from a point total, pretty ugly if we're talking about the classics. So we're going to exclude Thursday night, Miami-Buffalo. Pretty high total, 49.5. And we're excluding Monday night, which is a great game. Detroit at Baltimore, 51.5 is the total. That's the biggest total of the week. So we're just looking at the classic Sunday. So we're excluding Sunday Night Football as well. Chiefs at Giants, which is kind of a weird game. But there's one game that's above 46.5, and it's America's Game of the Week. It's Dallas at Chicago, which the Bears are favored in.
What a wild point spread.
That total is 49.5. The Bears favored by 1.5. I'll go through the rest of the games we got. Colts.
I'm actually seeing Dallas favored by 1.5, Cheah.
Really? I checked it this morning.
I don't see how that. I admire Vegas and the point spread makers because when you make Chicago favored,
I got the Bears.
Yeah, I got Bears minus 1.5 is what Cheah just showed me on
Bears
DraftKings.
minus 1.5 right now in DraftKings, which is wild. So the whole slate, we got the upstart Colts 2-0 thanks to a leaping penalty, which gives me so many bad memories from our Monday night game against the Colts back in 2003. 3.5 point favorites in Tennessee. 43.5 is the total. Then we got Pittsburgh going to New England in a game I don't think I'm going to watch a second of that game. That's just gross. It'll be on in the cave because we got Hank and
they've both been playing higher scoring games than you'd think to start the year.
Yuck. Pittsburgh at New England. Pittsburgh favored by 1.5 on the road. We got the Jets going to Tampa. We do not know right now if Justin Fields is going to play. It looks like he has a concussion. The Bucs are going to be in their 1976 whites on that game, celebrating the 50th anniversary of the team. They're 7-point favorites. 45.5 is the total. We got Vegas on a short week going to Washington. We do not know right now if Jaden Daniels is going to play.
You can't take him in the DraftKings thing because we don't know if he's going to play, but if he does play, he's not going to be mobile.
Yeah. They are 3.5-point favorites. 44.5 is the total. A very good game. We got the Rams going to the Eagles. Eagles 3-point favorites. 44.5 is the total. We got an NFC South clash with the Falcons going to Carolina. Atlanta favored by 5.5. 43.5 is total. Again, these totals are pretty low. Speaking of low, we got Jake Browning going to play Carson Wentz. Cincinnati at Minnesota. Yuck. Minnesota favored by 2.5. 41.5 is the total. AFC South matchup, we got Houston on a short week going to Jacksonville. The Jags favored by 1.5 right now. We got Cleveland hosting Green Bay. The Packers 7.5-point favorites on the road. Denver in the afternoon slate. AFC West matchup going to the Chargers. That should be good on a short week. Chargers favored by 2.5. We got your Saints going to Seattle. Seahawks favored by 7.5. 41.5 is the total. Arizona going to San Francisco. They are favored by 1.5.
Which
Mac
means
Jones at quarterback.
Yeah, I was gonna say that means Purdy's out again.
And the aforementioned Dallas at Chicago. 49.5 is the total. Chicago favored by 1.5. What matchups stand out to you, Mintzy?
I mean, Dallas, Chicago obviously has the highest over-under, but that one stands out to me. And look, the other one, I see why the total's a little lower because of how the Sunday night game went. But Atlanta, Carolina, these games get wild in this. I always say this is you and I are both NFC South veterans.
Yep.
These games get wild in these NFC South interdivisional matchups, and I think there's a lot of value in Atlanta, Carolina, especially on the Atlanta side. But you're right. This is a tough slate. We've got a lot of bad options. You mentioned the Jaden Daniels thing, the Burrow injury. I mean, we're going to have to get in the trenches here on picking these lineups.
Yeah. Moody, which games stand out to you?
Yeah, those are the top two games that I had highlighted. No doubt about it. The Cowboys' defense has been awful. The Bears, in general, have been awful. I think that could turn into a shootout, though. I mean, the rest of these they're ugly. They're not great games. I think there might be some sneaky value in that Steelers-Patriots game, actually. The Patriots' defense has looked awful. The Pittsburgh defense has not been the defense we've seen in the past couple of years. There may be some sneaky value there, but this is a weird week. Probably one to stay away from betting over-unders, honestly.
One I would also highlight is Houston-Jacksonville. Jacksonville 1.5 favorite, 44.5 is the total. CJ Stroud has played really well against Jacksonville, throwing for about 293 yards a game, averaging just a shade under 2 touchdowns. Has not thrown a pick against them. I think this is I think this one, especially after all the stuff that went on this week with Trevor Lawrence waving off Liam Cohen, the Brian Thomas Jr. thing, something to not overlook is that right now through 2 weeks, and Liam Cohen did a great job with this in Tampa, is he has revived the running game. The Jags were 25th in the NFL in running the football in 2024. They're the number 1 rushing team in the NFL right now. Travis Etienne's averaging over 7 yards a carry. Tootin's averaging 4.8 yards a carry. Like, they are running the football. Yes, they are running the football and doing it well. And Houston, obviously watching it closely last night, could not stop the run last night. So that is a game that I am looking at. Jacksonville could pull the upset there. We'll see. But let's get into DFS again, the classic slate for Sunday. So we're excluding Miami Buffalo, the Sunday night game, Kansas City and the Giants, and then the Monday night game, Detroit at Baltimore. Let's go through some prices for the quarterbacks. Jaden Daniels, we do not know if he's going to play. He's at the top of the market, $7,000. Jalen Hurts, $6,800. And Baker Mayfield, $6,600. Jordan Love, $6,300. You can go all the way down. You can actually do some major bargain hunting. Carson Wentz is the cheapest starting quarterback. He's at $4,000. So if you're looking to shave some money, he is an option. I'm not saying
no. I mean,
it's a good one, but he is. You can get a quarterback for very cheap this week.
Look, that's not the worst thing. It's the Bengals defense. I mean, there's got to be some spot. It's all strategy based, but the thing is, with a week like this week, it's a thinner slate. So, I mean, if you've got a couple guys you really like and you got to spend some money, I mean, I don't hate cutting some corners.
Yeah. Who is a quarterback that stands out to you, man?
I mean, it's so obvious, but the Dak at 5,900. It's the highest over under the week. Chicago's pass defense. They made J.J. McCarthy look good in the fourth, and what Jared Goff just did in Detroit did to him. I think that Dak at 5,900 is a pretty pretty obvious value this week. All the top guys, Jaden's banged up. I don't trust, Hurts 6,800 seems high with the way they're throwing the ball. The Herbert thing's not great. I mean, as good as he's looked, Denver Chargers division game, that's not maybe the best fantasy matchup. So I'm going to roll with Dak. Don't hate Caleb Williams at 5,600, by the way. I think that's another option.
Caleb Williams is my favorite quarterback play this week. $5,600. And I know he has not looked good, and his mechanics aren't great, and his footwork doesn't look good. Here are just the numbers, and I'm just looking at him and Ben Johnson. He's throwing for about 209 yards a game, a touchdown and a half passing. He had 1 touchdown on the ground in week 1, so 2 touchdowns a game for him. He has 1 interception in 2 games. He's averaging 42 yards rushing a game. Now he's going against a Cowboys defense that just gave up. We watched week 1. We were wondering if Russell Wilson, the national media was calling for Russell Wilson's job after 60 minutes of football. That's how bad he looked against Washington. Against Dallas,
400-something yards.
450 yards passing, 3 touchdowns. He had the really ugly pick at the end, but an interception is not going to cost you that many fantasy points. I think this is the week. Of all the weeks, I think this is the biggest game of Caleb Williams' career, because if he does not look good against the Dallas Cowboys, a team that Russell Wilson just shredded, he can't be the guy. You can't be. And, he has not looked good in the first 2 games. The Bears as a whole have not looked good. They've given up 79 points in 2 games. But I think Dallas will score. So Dak, for sure, I think that is a solid play, especially with all the injuries. You mentioned Jalen Johnson, their top cornerback, who is a very, very good cornerback, out. I think Caleb and the Bears offense could potentially match them or come close to it. I'm not asking for them to win the game. I think he will put up some fantasy numbers this week. Caleb Williams, I think, is a great deal at $5,600.
Yeah, I like it. I want to mention Cam Ward, too, at 4,900. I think he's a decent bargain against Indy with their top 2 corners banged up.
Okay. Moody, who do you like in the quarterbacks?
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty obvious. It is Dak and Caleb. Those are the top 2 targets for me this week. And then I'll throw out a third guy, the guy that's right now leading all quarterbacks, not named Lamar Jackson, in fantasy scoring. That's Daniel Jones, averaging 27.7 points per game. And I can't believe I'm saying it. I spent all last year making fun of Daniel Jones and Caleb Williams. Still making fun of Caleb Williams, but I'll tell you what, Daniel Jones so far has earned not being made fun of. Dude's balling right now. They're calling him Indiana Jones. I mean, he's already earned a nickname up there. He's playing well. I'm probably going to go Dak in this spot, to be honest with you. But I do like Daniel Jones. He's doing a hell of a job. You got to tip your cap, and I think he's got some value once again this week.
I'll give it on here. I just looked at this morning. Shane Steichen is plus 750 to win Coach of the Year. Matt LaFleur is plus 850. But I think looking at Green Bay's roster, especially after Micah Parsons, nobody's going to be surprised if they win 12 or 13 games.
Yep.
If the Colts win the division, with Daniel Jones playing well, like right now he's second in the league in passing yardage, they haven't punted. I don't see how Shane Steichen does win Coach of the Year.
I don't see how he doesn't either. I mean, with the mess. And then, because when you look at, they drafted Anthony Richardson number 4 overall, and obviously it hadn't worked out so far. When you take someone that high and put that much into somebody, and you have to reverse course and do what they're having to do, and you can win a division, because that, those are the moves that set your franchise back.
Yeah.
You spend a top 5 pick on the guy.
Mm-hmm.
And the question is, Daniel Jones this year, Sam Darnold?
Yeah, it certainly could be. His former teammate with Minnesota for a little bit. So wait, Moody, who are you going with a quarterback?
I'm going with Dak. It's Dak,
okay.
yeah. Again, I just think the Cowboys are going to have to throw the football. And same thing for the Bears. They're both going to have to sling it around. I love the Dak-CD combo this week. That's going to be my quarterback and wide receiver 1.
All right. Moody, I'll kick it to you first for running backs, where we got Chris McCaffrey setting the market, $8,200. Bijan, setting the record straight. Not Bijan. Bijan, just as mom and grandma call him Bijan. He wants to be called Bijan again. The 1-week national crisis is over. Bijan Robinson, $7,900. Saquon Barkley, $78,000. Huge drop to Jonathan Taylor, who's leading the NFL in rushing, $7,200. Bucky Irving, $7,100. Josh Jacobs, $7,000. It goes down from hundreds by that. You can get all the way down to some interesting plays, like maybe a Chris Rodriguez with Austin Eckler out for the year. Assuming he plays, $4,100, or Jeremy McNichols, $4,400. Moody, who do you like in the running back market?
This is the week that I'm spending my money at the top of the market. It is Bijan Robinson against Carolina. That Carolina defense is not good, and Bijan's the best running back in the NFL. I had Jahmyr Gibbs number one to start the season. It's Bijan. I mean, they get him the ball in so many unique ways. I think you nailed that this year, Cheah. Tyler Algier vulturing touchdowns around the goal line. You don't love that, but it doesn't even matter because Bijan's getting so many catches out of the backfield. He's so unique as a runner. I mean, this guy is just absolutely electric. There is no better spot than against the Carolina run defense for Bijan. So I'm taking him at 7,900. I'm also on a guy that I've played the last 2 weeks, Travis Etienne, 5,900.
Yep.
I mean, he's what, second in rushing right now in the
Yep.
NFL. He's
7.1
looked
yards
tremendous.
per carry.
Yeah, right behind Jonathan Taylor by like 6 yards or something like that. He's
Yep.
been tremendous. Houston looks terrible at stopping the run. I mean, even Rashad White had over 60 yards rushing the football last week or yesterday. So
Yeah.
I like Travis Etienne. And then I'm going to throw out two guys that I'm debating between for my flex, Ja'Cory, Krosky, Merritt. It is
Bill.
his time to shine now without Austin Eckler. If it's going to happen, it's time to happen. That is a kind of tough matchup because Vegas's run defense has been pretty good so far. And then the other guy was the dude that I alluded to at the beginning of the season who is ready to roll. It's Quinshon Judkins, 10 carries, 61 yards against a tough Baltimore defense last week. He has another tough matchup in Green Bay. But it is very evident that Dylan Sampson cannot run between the tackles. Quinshon Judkins is going to be the guy there, and his time is now. Like, he's going to have a full week of practice. They already gave him 11 touches last week. He's going to get more this week. I love Quinshon Judkins the rest of the season. Not the best matchup this week by any means, but this kid is going to be a stud moving forward, I promise you.
I'm running back. I'm going, look, this is a strategy thing. I'm saving money almost everywhere to do this. I'm going Bijan Robinson and Saquon Barkley. I'm just spending it all. Saquon played the Rams last year twice, over 250 on Sunday night, over 200 in the playoff game. When you look at the Eagles so far this year, they haven't really gotten the passing game going. They're going to run the ball. It certainly seems that way. And then Bijan for every reason. I mean, Carolina sucks. I think Bijan's the number one running back. But I'm spending it, and I've found some other matchups that we're going to bargain hunt with.
Yeah, I have to agree with Bijan. Christian McCaffrey, if you can budget for it, going against Arizona, but $8,200 is so expensive. I think Bijan is certainly the start of the week. I agree with Moody with Travis Etienne, $5,900. I mean, the guy they traded away Tank Bigsby, and Travis Etienne is the running back. He had two. He got hurt in his rookie year and didn't really get to play that year. But then he had back-to-back 1,000-yard seasons. Wasn't great last year. Was in a timeshare with Bigsby. Now Bigsby is gone, and they got a guy who is actually running the football and knows how to run the football. I think he has. He's just got the juice, especially this week. Give me Travis Etienne Jr. to kind of beat that into the ground again against a Houston defense that was not very good at stopping the run. And I got to agree with Bill Krosky Merritt. I'm interested to see. I'm not going to make my play yet for running backs. I'm interested to see what they are going to say in press conferences and how they're going to stack the other running backs because Bill is not a big pass catcher. Like, I've been watching him very closely. He's been a guy gotten in multiple leagues. He is not a very good pass catcher from what I've seen so far in the NFL. So Jeremy McNichols initially was ahead of him on the depth chart. Is he going to be the guy that is a pass catcher? He can do that. Chris Rodriguez was a healthy and active week one. I think, he is going to be active, I would think, for this game. I know they signed Chase Edmonds, but I would assume he's like a practice squad guy. One other one I would throw out, and I don't want to, put this guy in my lap yet. But the Seattle running back situation is interesting because we saw Charbonnet take the lead week one and then take a giant step back in week two with Kenneth Walker kind of emerging. Where do you guys stand on the Seattle running backs? Moody, I'll start with you.
I personally don't really want anything to do with either one of them until one of the two either gets hurt or separates themselves. Because even though Kenneth Walker appears to be the better running back and he had a better week too, the splits were still pretty even. So like Seattle's using them at, I think they both had 12, 13 touches each, or at least rushes each. So like I'm just a little wary right now of guys that are completely splitting carries like that. there's going to be value eventually in that backfield. We just got to see it play itself out first.
Yeah, Mintzy, do you have a
I
strong
lean
take?
Charbonnet just because he's like I said, it seems like it's a coin flip right now, and Charbonnet's cheaper.
Because they're going to be playing the Saints this week, which you'd expect there's going to be a lot of time to run the ball, especially in the second half against that team.
Yeah, you would think so. No, and I would lean Charbonnet, even with them taking the step back, just because his price is cheaper.
Charbonnet, $4,800, something to monitor. And then one final one. I'm just going to give a shout out to Rachaad White, who was very good yesterday. The Bucs are playing the Jets. It's their home opener. They are going to be in the throwback unis. I don't know that they're going to be airing the ball out that much if the game is going to be comfortable. Obviously, they're on a short week. They're nicked up. Their right tackle, Luke Gedeke, who's very good. They signed to a big contract extension, $22 million a year before the year started. He got hurt and ruled out immediately with a foot, which is bad. I've not heard Todd Bowles' press conference today. He just had it. But I would be cautious. Their offensive line did not look good. They ran the ball a ton. And Bucky Irving is fantastic, but he's not a guy you're going to want to give 25 carries to. He's just not a big guy. I think he's like 195 pounds. Rachaad White is down like 15 pounds this offseason at $5,100 for a guy who is going to be in on most third downs because he is a very good pass blocker and pass catching back. He obviously had about 60 yards rushing and had the game-winning touchdown. He's a guy I'm going to monitor for a chance at $5,100 could have some garbage time and increased carries. I think he had about 10 carries last night against the Texans. All right, wide receivers. We got Jamar Chase setting the market at $8,100. CeeDee Lamb right behind him, $8,000. Puka, a little bit of drop, $7,700. Justin Jefferson, $7,500. Nico Collins, $7,300. Then a big drop down to Ladd McConkey, who has underperformed so far, $6,800. Mike Evans, $6,600, and it goes down by hundreds after that. You can get all the way down to Torrey Horton, who scored this week, $3,400 as somebody playable. Mintzy, what receivers stand out to you?
I'm going with JSN at $6,500. You mentioned the target share of the Saints defense. I don't have the most faith in, and I think JSN should be priced $7,000 or higher at this point. And so I think the value's there at $6,500.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
And my other guys, I'm going Pearsall, $5,500. He had look, I mean, he didn't go off against the Saints, but he still got a lot of targets, had a solid game. The thing, it looks like the Mac Jones signing could work out for them with Purdy being hurt. I'm not saying Mac Jones is the greatest, but he's serviceable. And then I'm trying to save money at my last spot. I'm leaning Butte, who had a touchdown last week into the 100-yard game week 1 at $4,600 because Pittsburgh's defense has allowed over 30 points both the first 2 weeks, which is a little surprising. So that's kind of how I'm leaning at number 3.
Okay. Moody, who stands out to you in the receiver room?
Oh, number one for me, CeeDee Lamb for sure. I understand I got to spend some money there, but that's perfectly fine with me. CD, my number one guy. Then I'm going to go a little bit bargain shopping, but I don't feel like this guy is a bargain. I feel like we're going to be paying high prices for him as the season goes on. Teteroa McMillan, playing like a stud, had over 100 yards last week, and you want to get that 100-yard bonus. That's very big in DFS. Had a big week. He's coming in at 5,900. Carolina's going to be behind in this game. Carolina's going to be behind in a ton of games, so they're going to throw the ball a lot. I like McMillan this week at 5,900. I do like Ricky Pearsall, and then I'll save my last guy for my plant your flag play in just a bit.
Ooh, I like that. I do like CeeDee Lamb at 8,000. I'm not going to put him in my lineup yet, but I am very curious how this week goes with press conferences and practice reports and stuff like that. Brian Thomas Jr., $6,400. It just boggles my mind how he could fall off so much from a guy who was pushing for Offensive Rookie of the Year last year. He was just the expectations for him this year were so high, and he's getting the targets. It's not like he's not being thrown the ball. I think he had 7 week 1, 12 week 2, something like that. The targets are there. So where is I am assuming things are going to get worked out this week, but then also is he going to have Derek Stingley Jr.? That's a situation to monitor. Quentin Johnston is a guy that, he had the big catch for a touchdown last night.
3 touchdowns already.
3 touchdowns already. Back in, I don't say back in the day, but 20 years ago when fantasy football was getting a lot of traction. The big thing was third-year wide receivers.
It was. You're right.
It was. And now it's like, if you don't produce immediately, you stink.
Yeah.
When Quentin Johnston was drafted, we knew he was pretty raw, but he had tools. His hands were not great. His route running was not great. But he was big, tall, and fast. And now you're seeing him kind of put that together. So I think at $5,400, I know they're, got a division game against a good secondary in Denver. But $5,400, that's a guy I'm looking at. Two more, or actually I'm going to mention one more. Darnell Mooney, and he didn't have great production this week. But you mentioned Carolina, Atlanta, those games can get wild. Drake London did not look very good on Sunday night going against a Minnesota team that was, I don't want to say desperate for a win, but a Minnesota team that people expect to be, they're coming off 14 wins a year ago, just didn't really deliver in prime time. Bijan and the running game picked up, but overall Minnesota typically is not very good against the pass. Drake London is the main guy. Darnell Mooney had missed several weeks of camp, didn't play at all in the preseason, missed week 1, just got back next. So I wasn't expecting that much from him, but he's a guy, now that he's going to have a full week of practice under his belt and kind of get reacclimated, that's a guy I'm looking at, because I do not believe that Drake London is 100% after they were saying he had potentially an AC joint sprain, which I have had before. It is painful to lift your arms up. He's a guy I'm going to keep an eye on in a game that, as you said, could get wild. All right, let's go to tight ends. Brock Bowers setting the mark at $6,000. Trey McBride, $5,700. Big drop to Tucker Kraft, who had a big game at $4,700. Tyler Warren, who's leading the NFL in receiving for tight ends, $4,400. Zach Ertz, $4,200. You can go all the way down to $3,000 if you want to get spicy. Mintzy, who do you like from the tight end?
I'm going Kyle Pitts, $3,900. I'm just getting everybody against Carolina. I think the price is still right, and his target share is really good. Watching, he caught 7 balls first week. We saw him catch a bunch of balls again on Sunday, and I think Carolina's defense stinks. So, I spent so much of my money on Bijan and Barkley that I'm having to bargain hunt, and I think $3,900 here is a good deal.
Yeah. Moody, who do you got?
I do like Kyle Pitts as well, but I have to go to the bottom because I've spent a lot of money at this point, and I'm going to one of my reliable guys, someone that has put up pretty solid numbers against the Eagles, and that is Tyler Higbee, the Hig Beast. He's always good for 4 or 5 catches. He's got a chance to get in the end zone. If he gives me 5 for 48 and a score, I would be absolutely ecstatic. He's coming in at $2,900. If you go back to last year's playoff game against the Eagles, I think he had 7 for 70, something like that. He's a guy that they get the ball to whenever there's a really good pass rush. Devontae Adams going there has hurt him a little bit, but I think this is a really good spot for Higbee. I like him at $2,900. He's the guy that I'm putting in my lineup because I've spent so much money elsewhere. Give me the Hig Beast.
I am going to go with Harold Fannin Jr., $3,600. This guy he's technically tight end 2 in Cleveland, but his first week, 9 targets, led the team in targets, 7 catches, 63 yards. Last week, caught every one of his targets, 5 catches for 48 yards. He's a guy who had a rushing attempt in week 1. He is just kind of a jack of all trades in a game that, I don't think anyone's fully expecting them to be super competitive week in and week out. They're going against a very, very good defense in the Green Bay Packers this week, coming off a game where they, obviously played a good defense in the Baltimore Ravens. I think he's a guy, if you're looking to save money, you're looking to get those, Bijan Robinson or the Christian McCaffrey or CeeDee Lamb, the more expensive guys. I think this is an area where you can save a little bit. $3,600, I think the price is right for Harold Fannin Jr. I'm expecting a, 5-catch, 75-yard type game from him. Hopefully he gets in for, a garbage time score or something like that. I think that Harold Fannin Jr. is a decent play this week, even though the Packers have a very good defense.
I like
it. Defense, special teams. The aforementioned Packers get the top billing going against the Browns. $3,700. We got the Seahawks, $3,600, Bucks $35, Vikings $34. You can go all the way down to the Cleveland Browns, going against the seemingly unstoppable Green Bay Packers at $2,200. Or the Jets going against my Bucks at $2,200. Moody, who stands out to you on the defense?
I'm not changing anything at defense. It's worked pretty well for me the last couple weeks. I'm going with the Rams once again. They're coming in at $2,400, so I'm able to save some more money there. Look, I get it that they're playing Philadelphia. Totally fine. They've Their defense is even better this year than it has been. I think this is going to be a low-scoring football game, to be honest with you. The Rams' defense, so damn good with their pass rush, but the concern is obviously that Saquon has run the ball down their throat. I think they'll be ready for that in this game. I like the Rams' defense. They've got 8 sacks over the first 2 weeks. Maybe not going to have as many sacks in this game, but I like the Rams. You're saving money. Give me them at 2,400.
Mintzy, who you got?
I'm going bargain shopping too, and I'm doing it on the Las Vegas Raiders with Jaden Daniels having the ankle injury. And they're 2,300. And even if Daniels plays, I don't think he's going to be mobile. And when you look at the Commanders' offense, when Jaden Daniels is not mobile, you downgrade it very, very significantly. They really didn't get that much going against the Giants in Week 1 either. So I'm going bargain hunting with the Raiders. And look, as bad as the Raiders lost last night, they held the Chargers to 20 points. That's no joke.
I'm going with a team that's a little bit interesting on defense, and that's the Arizona Cardinals. They play a very unique defensive concept where they basically blitz one of their DBs or safeties or corners on almost every play. The Cardinals, $2,900 going against Mac Jones and the 49ers, who obviously are going to be down George Kittle. Christian McCaffrey certainly is a weapon you have to account for, but they are not healthy. Juwan Jennings played this week. He scored a touchdown. He has a shoulder thing. The Cardinals, I think, are in an interesting spot where I don't think their offense is really there. I do not trust Kyler. Side note, I wish Kyler would run more. He is like arguably the most talented runner, maybe outside of Lamar and Jaden. In
Jalen Hurts, maybe.
I think Kyler is a better like pure runner and eluder of pressure than Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts runs way more and is a very good running quarterback overall, but his legs are a huge asset. If Kyler Murray ran the ball more than like 4 times a game, if Kyler Murray had 10 carries a game, I feel like he would be a very, very good quarterback, but he just doesn't run it that much. But I like the Cardinals defense at 2,900 going against the Niners. Let's talk about the plant your flag player of the week. Mintzy, who do you got? Who's going to be in every one of your lineups this week?
All right, I'm been watching the situation the last couple of weeks. He's been emerging in Minnesota, and now Aaron Jones is hurt. I'm going with Jordan Mason, 5,600. The Vikings are going to run the ball. They have to with the Carson Wentz thing. They're playing the Bengals, who struggled to stop the run last week against Jacksonville. And when you're starting a backup quarterback, and now Aaron Jones looks like he's out, I'm going with Jordan Mason to get fed the rock. And at 5,600, I think it's a good value.
All right, Moody, who do you got?
I planted my flag last week with Rome Odunze. He helped me cash for the 2nd straight week. And my flag is still sitting there in the middle of the field with Rome Odunze standing beside it. I'm going right back to him. He's 2nd right now in points per game, right behind Puka Nacua. 25.3 fantasy points per week so far for Rome Odunze. We've already talked a lot about how we think the Cowboys and Bears are going to be a shootout. Odunze has emerged as the number 1 ahead of DJ Moore there. I love him at 5,300. Give me Rome Odunze once again as my plant your flag play of the week.
Son of a gun, because I was also going to go Rome Odunze. 20 targets. The guy has 20 targets through 2 games. That's crazy. And I'm going to be honest. This is so with DFS, the way you play, like you're shooting for the moon. You're trying to go boom or bust. I'm going to start a ton of Bears. I'm going to start Rome Odunze and DJ Moore this week.
No, I don't blame you.
And DJ Moore
started Malik Neighbors and Wandale last week. Look what it had done.
Also, I'm pretty sure I talked about it in the receiver preview. I was big on Wandale Robinson going through the year. I had as receiver 14, I believe. DJ Moore through 2 weeks, 11 targets, averaging 4 catches for 57 yards a game, no touchdowns. That's not what you want. He does have 3 carries for 8 yards. That's not really helping that much. This is the week for DJ Moore to get on track. I'm playing DJ Moore. I'm playing Rome Odunze. I might get wild and even play Colson Level, who had no catches last week. I'm playing so many Bears this weekend because this is the game. The Bears are favored. The books are not dumb. For everything we've seen should say the Bears stink and should be underdogs to anyone. The Cowboys, yes, they gave up a lot of points to the Giants, but they won that game. They could have won week 1.
Yeah, that was a good effort.
You're looking at a team that could be 2-0. Why are the Bears favored? Because the Bears are going to go nuts this week on offense. The total is 49.5. I think And I'm not picking them to win necessarily, but I think this could be a fun shootout in the America's Game of the Week slot. Give me all the Bears this week. Play my flag. Caleb, Roma Dunze, DJ Moore. Might even put Swift in there. This is going to be a big week for the Chicago Bears. And I don't like rooting for the Bears because they're not a fun team. But I think this is the week they finally go nuts.
Well, I'm hoping for the sake of a lot of our friends in this office that happens, because it's been tough being around Big Cat and Eddie and Chief and White Sox Dave. And
Eddie's video from the boiler room was so funny this past weekend. It's hard. I've been very blessed to have Tom Brady and now Baker Mayfield in my life. Before that was awful, and I fully understand where they're at. I was there with Jameis. I've been there with Josh Freeman, Josh McCown, Bruce Gradkowski. I like Chris Sims. Brian Greasy is horrible. When you're in that, and you're kind of in it now.
No, yeah.
Who knows what Tyler Shuck is, but it's.
I feel like if he was good, he'd already be playing if he was good.
It's early. He's going to get in this year.
Rattler's been not that bad.
Yeah,
he's been better than you think.
3 touchdowns last. He looked awful last year, and yes, certainly he's doing a little bit better this year. All right, that is it for Fantasy Football Factory Week 3, presented by DraftKings Pick 6. For the King of South, Mintzy. For Moody, I am Stephen Cheah. Hopefully we'll see you this week in the winner's circle.
The crown is yours.